Oh, we're going live.
You're starting the light.
Yo! Welcome to the show! Welcome to Instigators Hockey Show. I'm Paulie D. He's over there. Chris
Bronchitis Bill.
Bronchitis Bill. I got my hockey guy in the background. We got the red light. We got the Katsy's character there. We got the number 11. We got the Moose.
Greatest captain in pro sports.
And we got the cold beer with your name on it. I don't know what else you guys need.
I would like to join you, but I to those that, I gotta let you know we missed last week's show because I caught bronchitis. So it's been a rough 2 weeks. I'm about 70-30 right now. I'm feeling pretty good.
So Katsy's going to cough a couple of times, and that's all right.
Maybe. We don't know yet.
We don't know.
Yeah, by the way, I'm on steroids for the first time. Can you see it?
You're on steroids for the first time?
They actually give you steroids to battle bronchitis.
You're on prednisone, right?
Is that what it is? I don't know. You're the expert on the medical department.
Prednisone.
Just tell me to take them, and I take them. That's all.
Oh, that's good stuff for you. Look at this. We got all the boys in the house. What's going on? It's been a couple weeks. Katsy was sick. Bronchitis Bill, but we're back and better than ever before. Got a lot to talk about, especially in the trade rumors, trades that's gone by, the New York Rangers, all that kind of fun stuff.
There's a lot of shit happening in this last week and a half. Boy,
there's a lot of shit happening. That's right, man. I got Beth looking into what you told me about the 20-man roster for Edmonton during the game.
Yeah, that was like off the air. We were talking, Paulie and I watched the game that night in Edmonton. That's right, Instigators. I'd like to have mine on, but I'm still recuperating, folks. It's not 85 degrees and sweltering heat up here. So, the Edmonton game the other night, Edmonton played with one less player because of a salary cap. What are we going to call it? A hiccup? I don't know. But that's messed up, isn't it? That salary caps make you have a roster of one man short. I mean, that's unbelievable.
I mean,
I don't know exactly the reason, but I remember Sam and Joe, who are sitting in their studio, not even out in Edmonton doing the game. I don't know if you fans noticed that. Did you guys notice that?
Is that due to COVID protocols? Or
I have no idea, Paulie. Is it either that or, it's not in the budget? I don't know.
Not the budget.
But Edmonton did play that game that night against the New York Rangers with one less man on the roster due to something with the salary cap. As to what, machinations of it that caused that, I don't know. But it's just a stupid thing, period, this salary cap. And it cost Edmonton a player that night.
Wow.
And it worked out for the Rangers anyways, but yeah.
I gotta tell you, man.
Yeah, we gotta look that up. I'm gonna look that up for next week's show, see exactly what the problem there was. But it's a lot of bullshit for you to, you're going into a game and then you find out you can only dress 19 guys because you know what I mean? Because you're over the cap with 19 guys instead of 20? I don't know.
Well, once again, Beth pulls it out of her hat because she's the
girl.
That a girl. Oilers dressed 17 skaters versus the Rangers after Koskinen scratch with illness. The Edmonton Oilers were forced to dress only 17 skaters for Friday's game against the New York Rangers after winger Kim Constant was made a late scratch due to an illness. The Oilers had no other players available to play after Dylan Holloway and defenseman Vincent, I think it's Desjardins, were loaned to the AHL Bakersfield on Friday to make room under the cap. For Kaller Yamamoto to be activated from long-term injury reserve.
Yeah, he played that night. I remember he was on the ice for Edmonton that night, Yamamoto. But just another one of those strange things that the NHL won't admit that they made wrong with this salary cap garbage.
There was speculation that the Oilers would have to put Jesse Puljujarvi on waivers to make room for Yamamoto.
Yamamoto, yep. And
Wow.
they've been trying to get rid of him all year. Puljujarvi, whatever his name is, he's got like a $3 million a year salary.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's just ridiculous. Okay, that an organization and really a business. It comes down to a business move, Paulie, where you're strapped because you got a cap problem.
That's fucking nuts. 17 skaters. Gosh, usually you dressed what, 23?
20 players, 2 goalies and 18.
Yeah, 2 goals in 18, right. Wow.
Well, a guy like McDavid ended up, I think, being double shifted all night, and Draisaitl and stuff like that. But in the end, it's just, it's just kind of ridiculous that you don't have a full roster on the ice in a National Hockey League game because of the cap rules, the wonderful cap rules.
Yeah. I mean,
hey, Paul, just tell your boss at work tomorrow that you can't sell any more BMWs. You've reached your cap limit. Okay? You reached them. You can't sell anymore. Everybody go home now.
Yeah.
Just dumb as shit.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, I mean, I think this is the first I've ever heard of anything even like that happening.
That's the first for me. I was going through my whatever sickness there, and I stayed up all night to watch the game. Wow. It was mentioned by Sam and Joe on the air, and I was like, "What?" All right, we had enough of that crap. Let's move on.
Moving on.
Thanks, Bethel. Thanks for coming up with that.
She's the best, and she did it in minutes. All right. I don't disagree. While we're on the Edmonton, though, I mean, I don't disagree that this cap situation for them is going to be troublesome for playoffs and everything else. I mean, I know we were talking about how overrated you feel that they are because they just can't get, they can't get over the top.
They can't keep the puck out of the net.
Yeah.
They can score 50 goals a game, and then you get 51 scored against. What difference does it make?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
Defensively, Kenny Holland's been a bit of a mastermind at guessing what the NHL's next moves are going to be because he was the one that changed the Detroit Red Wings into bruised boys into soft boys, and they won Stanley Cups with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just don't get it. Like, what is he looking at on that defense there that he thinks are? You got the two of them, arguably the best scorers in the league over the last 6 years, and you can't get past the first or second round of the playoffs. Anyhow, enough of that crap. That's what done with.
I'm done with you.
Did you watch any of the Stadium Series game? I'm going to be honest with you, folks. I did not. So, Anthony, you want to give us a little update? What happened there? Anybody? Was Andy a Mayberry there? Andy Griffith?
I was away the entire weekend. I've been at it, man. So, well, I mean, again, we talk about the Winter Classic, the Stadium Series, all these things. I don't know. I don't know where my mind was going. I wanted to finish my thought with the Oilers and the fact that, like you said, it's a shame to have the two most gifted players, especially with McDavid, and to be at this point where they can't get over the hump. And now, when you're dressing 17 players, I mean, that sucks.
not only that, I know I want to get rid of the Edmonton story, but their goaltending situations like up and down, up and down. So they got trouble. They're going to be in trouble. I mean, you can only score so many goals, before you have to figure out you got to stop having goals scored against you. And that's the problem with the Edmonton Oilers right now. I think they got a lot of overrated players on that team. That's my opinion, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah, well, like you said, what's the sense of scoring 50 goals if somebody can score 51 against you? So,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, but very interesting. And what a shame because I'm such a big McDavid fan.
Guy's phenomenal.
He is. He's really such a gift to the NHL. So
And Draisaitl is. If there was no McDavid there, Draisaitl's like pretty damn good himself. He gets kind of like overshadowed by what McDavid does, and yet he's second in the league in scoring. So
yeah. Well, I guess we can move on. I did want to talk about. I'll tell you the guy. Let's talk about Ryan O'Reilly first. Moving over to Toronto. That's the guy I wanted for the Rangers. I told you that. I think I've said that in previous shows. He was the guy that he's the guy that.
Well, I think you were looking more at a scorer first, and then a guy like O'Reilly. You wanted some more scoring. Come on.
Yeah. I think
that's what we were arguing at the end of the show last week or 2 weeks ago.
No, I know. Absolutely, but I think Ryan O'Reilly does. I think he fills a lot of holes, man. I mean, it's not like the guy can't put the puck in the net.
No, I'm not saying that. I totally agree with you. I think
he wins board battles. He's a tough guy. He's he's strong on his feet. He's strong with the puck. He's a smart hockey player. He's a north-south type of guy. Just a lot of that. I'm happy with Tarasenko, but I would have been happier with Ryan O'Reilly if I had a choice, if I'm being honest, because I think, and especially if they could have kept O'Reilly for a year or two, because I think he has a lot to offer this team as far as leadership and just the kind of player that he is. But
he's an all-around player compared to some of the snipers that everybody's looking at, including Tarasenko.
Yeah,
he plays the game up east, west, north, south. Is he a sniper like Tarasenko? No, he's not even close to that.
No, he's not a sniper.
But he's a guy that will contribute offensively, as he has tonight, scoring 2 goals for the Leafs against the Buffalo Sabres. His other former team. No, you're right. It would have been a good pickup, but again, we're getting back to the salary cap thing, Paulie. You got to choose your poison now. You can't just use you as a business, and that's what the NHL is. I don't care what anybody tells them. We can sit here and say that it's a fan sport and all this stuff. They don't look at it that way as much as they look at the bottom line. Okay, you should be able to buy your team. This is a business,
right?
That's what I think. You should, if you've got the money and the wealth, you should be able to get it. And screw the teams that don't have the money to do that. Why should I feel sorry for you? You know what I mean? But that's the problem. A lot of teams have right now.
Yep.
You have a lot of problems. They want this, they want that, they need this, they need that. But how do you fit them into that piece of pie cap that's got like 17 pieces cut in it already? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
there's still going to be a bunch of moves at trade deadline. Don't get me wrong. I truly believe there's going to be a lot. I don't want to call them desperate, but there's going to be some like really antsy owners and GMs trying to get things done, thinking that they got a shot at the Stanley Cup. So,
well, I mean, you got to think the 3 big trades in the last couple weeks here. The Islanders get Horvat. The Rangers get Tarasenko, and I love Mikko Mikkola in that. I really do. I think I think Chris Drury did a great job in that trade. I think The one trade that I feel like you probably could have got more for Julian Gauthier than just Tyler Mott. I feel I do. I like Gauthier. I think Gauthier has a good upside to him. I mean, we've talked about him before. He's a big, strong guy who drives to the net with the puck.
Yeah.
And that's almost a lost art in this game half the time. You don't see a lot of guys usually coming from the wing, comes around hard, goes to the net, man. He's very strong on his skates. Right now he's a little young. He's not finishing those, but I think he has a good upside to him. So, you know, I don't know if I like that trade as much, but we'll get into the Rangers in a bit. And then, the O'Reilly trade. I mean, those are Horvat and O'Reilly and Tarasenko. Um, the trading started, man. Those are some pretty available chips. I'm curious to see. I know we were talking about this off air, and we'll talk about it more, but curious to see if Kane gets moved. And you were saying that Jonathan Taves is off the market.
Yeah, apparently he's pulled himself off the market, and he's not with the team right now, trying to recuperate from a long-term effects from COVID. Just doesn't have the energy and all that stuff. So, as far as I read, there will be no Jonathan Taves trade. That's for sure. Kane's another story. I think he's probably going to get moved. It's just a matter of who, where, when. I think there's rumors that the Rangers are still in. If they can do something with Kravtsov and Zach Jones, some kind of combination there. Because again, you got to fit him under the cap, and with those two guys still on the roster, you can't just trade for Kane right now because of the cap situation. They don't have enough money space wise. But if they move, from what I understood, if they send Kravtsov down and he clears waivers, that takes a little bit off, gives him more room on the cap. And then if you could trade Zach Jones, apparently, then that would fit perfect to get a Patrick Kane. That's what I heard. Okay. Will it happen? Who knows? There's lots of guys out there, Paulie. Like I said, it all depends on what your team needs. You go back to the O'Reilly, and I think his name's Noel Okari. I mean, the Leafs, what the Leafs did with that trade was, in my opinion, was beef up their forward lines, okay? From just not all skill. Zakari likes to take the body. We all know O'Reilly likes to mix it up too. So that part's taken care of for the Leafs. But the Leafs, to me, still, their biggest omission is the 6 overall steady Eddie so-called defenseman on their team.
Right.
I'm not convinced that their D is tried and true to take the Stanley Cup right now. I for some reason, they just can never mesh that D together. They're like Edmonton. They're like Edmonton in a way. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, they are like Edmonton, very much so. I think, obviously, I think that I think the Leafs are closer now than ever before.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all.
I mean, they're a tough team, and now picking up, a stud in O'Reilly when it comes to, being a net front presence guy, being a puck battler, and just a smart all around. You can play all areas of the ice. So I think the Leafs got a lot tougher, a lot smarter, a lot stronger, and as close as they've ever been. So we'll see what happens there. The Islanders got bad news the other day. I think what's his name? Anders Lee got hurt, right?
Yeah.
But picking up Horvat, solidifying that. I know they're chasing. I think they're chasing the Pens.
I think they're ahead of the Pens right now in that wild card spot.
Chasing the Caps though, or are they in the
Caps are behind them too.
So it'd be interesting to see. I know that they're.
There's 5 teams right now that are in that wild card thing, Paulie. Detroit's still in it. Buffalo's still in it.
You're right. The Islanders and the Panthers, which the Panthers are surprising, but
was it Barzell that got hurt?
Was it Barzell or was it? Yeah, it might be Barzell.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't really follow the Islanders too much, but
yeah. Yeah, you're right. During the wild card, 65 points. Florida, the Panthers are a weird story this year, huh?
yeah, well,
Um,
you know,
but
Kachuk's putting up good numbers, Paulie, but
can't do it alone.
the team didn't get any better. The same thing with Calgary. But if you want to call that trade's a wash now.
Yeah,
Both teams are struggling.
I honestly thought that. Yeah, I honestly thought that the Flames got the better of the deal, but
Well, we did. You're right. We talked about that at the beginning of the year. I
but
did too.
it hasn't really panned out that way. I think the trade's very even, which I thought it was. I don't know.
Well, the problem there, Paulie, is sometimes you as a star player like Huberdeau, like having that fantastic couple seasons in Florida, you go to a different coach, an old school coach like Daryl Sutter, you know what I mean? And things don't quite, mesh together. I mean, he expects a certain way of hockey, and you're used to playing a certain way of hockey. And I've done a little work on that, homework on that too. That his agent Walsh is like just constantly causing all kinds of trouble about how that they're not using them right, they're not doing this. And Huberdeau had to come out and say that I didn't say that, my agent said that. You know what I mean about him being moved or traded.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility he might get moved if Calgary feels like
they didn't get what they wanted.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
Cops, we got to talk about the Bruins, man. I mean, they're a fucking anomaly. How are they this good? You look up and down this. I know Pasternak's approaching 50 goals if he's not almost there.
I think he got his 40th the other night or something like that.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, 91 points. They're just like blowing everyone out of the water. And again, they have a plus 92 differential in goals.
Paulie, it's what I told you a couple of weeks ago. They're defensemen on that team, though. Look at the 6 guys they play there. They're not 20-year-olds, but they're not 30-year-olds either.
Yeah,
they're right in their peak.
Yeah,
of them. And you got a guy like Pasternak who's, if Artemi Panarin is the highest paid player in the league right now, which I think he is, at 11.5 mil. What's Pasternak going to get?
Is Panarin the highest paid? Yeah.
I believe he is at 11.5. That's what I think. His number's 11.5.
Beth, can you look into that for us?
Well, all I'm saying is that if Panarin's getting 11.5, what do you think Pasternak's contract's going to be next time around?
Yeah.
They'll come sure, but maybe not in Boston, though. That's the problem. Boston doesn't throw the money around like flying saucer. They throw it around like manhole covers.
I don't think anybody in the world saw that coming.
No, nobody did. But as the season wore on, everybody's waiting to see them fall.
Exactly.
They lost a couple in a row. Everybody go, here they go. Well, big deal. No, their defense is awesome. Their total defense, their goaltending. Their third line, fourth line players are good. That Trent Frederick kid is a tough kid. He's got like 12, 13 goals now. You know what I mean? They got it all.
They got a lot of balance.
They're going to be hard to beat.
They have so much balance, man. It's just insane. Let me look up some of the stats.
Oh, go ahead. Knock yourself out.
But
they're just a perfectly built team for the NHL right now. Now we all know that doesn't guarantee them a Stanley Cup, but right now I think still they're the team to beat. I know, Anthony. I'm still waiting for my autograph from old man Clifton. By the way.
See here. How's Barry doing? I haven't seen him in a while.
Well, he had the big weekend with the Wounded Warriors project. I guess it went really well. I texted him and messaged him and wished him well, and he said everything went pretty good. And Glad it went good for him. He puts a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of effort into it. So, and the Wounded Warriors, they did a great thing showing up to help it out too by doing what they did up there in Cooperstown. They went to Utica to watch a minor league game and all that stuff.
Fun stuff, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah. You don't have to look up their stats, Paulie. It's right there. 91 points.
Yeah, no. Pastrnak there, 41 goals. Connor McDavid, 42. Paige Thompson, huh?
Uh-huh.
God, is he a stud?
Seen that coming.
36 goals, man. This kid. What I didn't realize was that Jack Hughes had 35 goals. I think he's hurt. Isn't he under concussion?
He was in the game the other night. I know that. I don't think he's in it anymore. He was out for a couple games or a game or two. That's it.
Yeah, he was hurt.
They're not falling, Paulie. I hate to say it to you. They're not falling, Jersey. They're going to make
tonight, I think.
Okay, but they're going to make the playoffs. Remember that was our debate. You said they wouldn't,
and you said the Islanders wouldn't.
Well, the Islanders still they got a little bit of way to go. Just because they're in a spot right now, but think about it. Take a look at the standings. Don't lose a couple in a row. You'll go from that 8th spot to the 12th spot just like that.
I didn't think Florida would be where they are.
What about Detroit all of a sudden, Paul? Rangers better be careful tomorrow night. I think or Thursday night with Detroit. Yeah, I know Mark. He was up there.
The last time the Rangers played them, they clobbered them too.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just telling you.
Detroit.
So I remember the Rangers playing a game in there last year where Detroit totally outplayed them, and I think the Rangers ended up winning it. So it's a trap game, Paulie. It's a trap game after all the good they've done so far.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I was gonna try to find a couple things, but it's not worth it. I'd rather just move on. Well, I don't know. I mean, does anybody have an answer for the Bruins? Is there anyone the Bruins played that actually has their number that's beat them more than once?
I don't know.
They have 8 fucking losses, man.
No, I know.
That's ridiculous. And I think they have like 5 overtime losses. Just ridiculous, man. 5 overtime losses and 8 losses. 91 points. I just don't know if anyone has an answer for them.
Well, I think I said it to you. I'll bring it out right now, folks. Here's what I think. The New York Rangers roster currently as it is, if they all play up to their potential, they could be. If they do, okay. How about even if they come remotely close to their potential? How's that?
Right.
I think they could beat everybody in the East except one team right now, and that's the Boston Bruins.
Boston Bruins, yeah.
I think they're capable of beating every other team, Paulie.
I don't disagree with that. I feel the same way. I think
Tampa, that story's starting to fall down too. Tampa, they're not as tough as they used to be either anymore. They're still good, and they're still a team to be reckoned with if you take them lightly. But they're not the big, scary beast that they've been over the last 3-4 years.
Well, you got to remember too. Last year in the playoffs, they didn't have Braden Point, and they got him back. And I think he's in top 5 in goals. I think he's got 32.
Look at their standings. They're not dominating anymore like top 2 teams anymore.
Well, they're not dominating. But
they're 5th place now. Like they're playing like they are a 5th place team. They're not a 1st, 2nd place team anymore.
I don't disagree, but I think they're going to be a tough fucking out in the series, man.
I'm just giving you an example right now. Like nobody should fear the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's put it that way. If you make the play, why are you going to fear him? Why are you going to fear him? Rangers had him. They had him last year. They had him 2-0 in that game. What's the fear? Ooh, look at that. Montreal 4-1 over the Devils.
We need that.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Well,
yeah, 40. So they're 43-8-5. Boston.
yeah. Scary.
43 wins, 8-5.
Scary.
I can remember. I think I can remember a couple of years in Harvard. It took us 2 seasons to get 43 wins.
The other guy I want to talk about was Bertuzzi. Oh, we're just talking about Detroit. I tell you, man, if the Rangers could get that.
There's so many guys, though, Paulie. It's not just him. There's Bukes.
Well, you said I said we needed goal scoring or someone to add to the offense. They've done that.
Yep.
I think your point now is they need some beef. They need a guy who can forecheck, create havoc, chip in the odd goal, stand in front of the net, give the defenseman a fucking fit, and Bertuzzi's that guy.
There's other guys too, though. It's not just him.
So who do you think that is obtainable for them?
Like you got all kinds of names being mentioned on our comments here, like Bajukstad and Nick Ritchie and all that stuff. I saw Nick Ritchie fight Olivier the other night too. That's a pretty good scrap. He still drops the gloves, but I'm just, there's a ton of guys. I'd like to see Tanner Jeannot there, but I don't know if they can get him.
You think Nick Ritchie's obtainable for the Rangers?
Why wouldn't he be? Nobody's really wanted him ever since he signed that deal with Boston. He's gone to Arizona. He'd be a perfect guy to put on that fourth line. He was a guy that scored 20 goals at least once in his career. I know that. And he's physical. He don't take no shit from nobody.
So you think they need fourth line beef?
Well, it's not what I think. It's what you can replace. What can you replace right now? Are you going to replace Hedl? No, they're not doing it. Okay? You just got Tyler Mott, who plays center. Right?
Right.
You got Zibanejad, who plays center. You got Trocheck, who plays center. So where do you fit? What player are you fitting in? You want a tough guy center? Whose spot's he going to take?
Right.
Where do you want to
I'm asking you?
No, I'm asking you though. Like it's about who you can replace. That's an upgrade. It's not an automatic. Well, this guy's going to give you a jolt.
Well, the only guy up front that you can replace, honestly, would be VC. If you think about the first,
they're not going to replace VC. He's done his job.
I know he has, but I'm saying if there's an odd man out for you, because you said the Rangers. I don't disagree. The Rangers need some forechecking ability that can play on the third line or possibly the second line.
There's no reason why VC can't go down to the third or fourth line.
I don't disagree. And then, but I'm not talking about Rangers. I don't think the Rangers need to pick up a fourth line player. I really don't.
I think they need a grinder, whether you like.
I don't disagree with that, but
where do you put them then? If you don't think they need him on a fourth line, where do you put him?
Well, what's the point on the fourth line in the playoffs? How many minutes is he going to get? What's he going to contribute, really?
How many minutes does Pat Maroon play a game?
Yeah, but I don't think Pat brings what he once brought either.
But he did at the time.
Yeah, when he played for the Blues especially.
This is where you and I left off that argument. They didn't win shit till they got Pat Maroon in that lineup. Period. End of story. They weren't tough enough, Paulie.
I don't see it.
They weren't tough enough. They weren't grinders enough. That's all there is to it.
Nick Paul, you got a point.
Was a great pickup. One of the greatest pickups Tampa ever got. Period.
I don't disagree. But he plays a lot more minutes than Pat Maroon does.
Okay, but again, Pat Maroon was not a fourth liner in a sense that he only played 3 minutes a game.
I get that, and I'm not talking about the Lightning. I'm talking about the current Rangers lineup.
That's what I'm trying to say to you right now.
Well, you're the one who continues to say that they need beef. Where are they putting the beef? On the fourth line?
You're probably going to have to put it on the fourth line.
Okay. Well,
you got to be able to let them go up there and if you're going to play a long series against somebody, They can't just play 2 minutes a period. You got to give them at least 4 minutes a period, 5 minutes a period, where they hit the defenseman over and over and over and over again till, like, if it goes a long way, those guys don't want to hit anywhere. They're looking backwards instead of forwards to the puck, going in their own end. That's the difference. That's what wins playoffs hockey. Okay? It's not all Connor McDavid slick skating fast shit. It's not Steven Stamkos one-timing it all the time. It's the guys that do the dirty fucking work that win you Stanley Cups.
I don't disagree with that, but I don't.
If you don't have it, you're not going to win.
I think we need some beef up front, man. I don't disagree. I really liked VC's play, but I think if I was going to say the odd man out, if you got a good grinder that's got some hands, that's going to stand in front of the net and do and play dirty and win puck board battles and things like that, I think VC's the odd man out.
I disagree with you. That's all.
I get it.
I don't agree with you.
So, how do you feel about picking up Mott?
It's one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player. I think he serves a purpose, but is he really going to do what he did for them last year? You know what I mean? He's there's a lot to be said there on that trade. You and I talked about it earlier.
Well,
if you get a guy like Bajukstad from Arizona, he's the guy that's going to replace Mott at center. Mott might have to go get kicked out on the wing somewhere. I don't know, Paulie. My point is this: the Rangers, on paper right now, should not have to worry about scoring goals. They should not have to worry about that stuff. They need to worry about a long, hard, physical, grinding, dirty, chippy series where you have that one line that's going to do what they do to you. Grind the shit out of you, hit you into the boards, not skate away from the play, not curl away when there's a chance to hit somebody. I'm just telling you, that's all part of winning hockey.
I get it.
Can't all be Cinderellas on skates. That's my point.
I mean, I get it. I just think the Rangers need a little more beef on, a little more balance of beef. I think, for one, if I'm being honest, I don't know why Kreider doesn't play that game, but that's really why, I think they need that. They need a power type forward where
I agree with you on the Kreider situation. He hasn't, like I said, he hasn't had he's scoring about what I thought he'd do after a 52-goal season. I think he's still going to get 30 plus, but his inclination to get physical and hit with
authority
with intent is not quite there anymore. Okay. But here's the situation again, Paulie. I don't care what machinations you want to put right now in the first line, second line, third line. Okay? The 9 guys that you have currently that are mixed up and down in there, okay? Who are you taking out to put the big beefy guy in there that you would like to see?
The only guys.
Well, who are you taking out? It's going to be out of the top 3 lines, Paulie. It's not going to be out of the top 4 or bottom 4.
No, I know.
All right, so which one?
The only guy I said that you would be able to replace would be VC. VC's been playing with fucking Sebastian.
You know what? I'm fine with that. Put him on the 4th line, though.
I agree.
The way you're coming off is like he's out. Like sit him out, he'll be scratched.
No, I'm crazy about him. I think he's been great.
VC's like a Mr. Fix-It-All.
Yeah,
he can do okay with any line that you play on.
Hey, I agree.
I agree with that.
I agree.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that. But you're still going to have trouble really replacing anyone else up top there.
You can't.
Well, you look at Boston with Pasternak and the Penguin there, Danny DeVito. They're the top line there on that team, okay, with Bergeron, right?
Right.
The Rangers don't have that kind of line where Bergeron takes the body, and Marchand, he's a shit disturber and a grinder, and he'll hit you.
Yeah.
They don't have that kind of line in their top three.
Nope.
They don't have it.
Nope. And they need a player.
But you're not gonna. What I'm saying is you can't. It's easy to talk about, but who are you gonna get rid of? I don't know. I don't know if they can do that. I hope they fill the fourth lineup. That's what I think. I hope they get a fourth line center. Unless you want to drop Hedel back down to the fourth line. It's your choice.
Well, I mean, Tyler Mock, isn't Mock the center now for the fourth line?
So, like, who do we get now? The center lines, I think, is solid right now.
So
who do they get?
I mean, I don't know. We've decided.
Well, you're looking at wingers. You're looking at Nick Ritchie, right? You're looking at Tanner Jeannot, who plays center and wing. These are beefy guys. This guy Bukestad likes to hit. He's not just he's like 6'6" or something like that too. And he actually scores goals too. But I don't think he's that guy though, because he'd want to probably play in the top two lines. You know what I mean? And who are you going to replace? It's not going to be that easy.
Matt, I don't disagree with you. I'd like to. I'd be interesting. I know they will never do it, but Matt had in here. I have to find it. He's like trade Chris. He said trade Chris Kreider.
I don't. You know,
I know.
That ain't gonna happen.
I know.
If something like that would happen in an off season.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. Like you wanted. They filled the offensive slide of it. They got a big, long, hulking defenseman there that kind of likes to take the body, which I like, and he's got some skills, Nikola. And I like the fact that you got Harper as a backup, because Harper wasn't bad either. Now you shouldn't have any problem on the defensive side right now going into the playoffs. That's my point. Right. Somebody gets nicked up or somebody can't go, then Harper jumps in. It's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just like to see somewhere a line like with a Goudreau, maybe Mott, and somebody else that's a little beefier. You know what I mean? Take Leschyshyn out. A little beefier, a little more grinding, a little more body work needs to be done when it comes to these long, hard playoffs. But I will say this, okay? We didn't get to say much, but we think the Tarasenko trade, okay? Right? I'm expecting more. You and I talked about it before. You think he's done all right. I'm really expecting him to be a little better than what he's been. I'm giving him the time because he's getting acclimated. But what it did do, that trade alone, what it did do, it gave the rest of the guys that are supposed to put the puck in the net a little bit more giddy up and a go and a little bit more freeway out there.
A little more room. Sure.
Exactly. There's one more guy now coming off the bench. You know what I mean? Whereas before, okay, whether we like him or not, we did. It's only Gauthier. I don't have to worry about it. But, Tarasenko's been there and done it. So as a defensive guy, you're thinking, shit, he's on the ice again? You know what I mean? Holy Christ, this guy's on the ice again? That's the kind of lineup you need when it comes to offense, where the defense can never rest.
Well, I think he's been real helpful for Trocheck's progress, because I think since we've gotten him, Trocheck's probably scored about 6 goals. But, and to what, 3 weeks ago, I kept saying, I haven't seen enough out of Trocheck, but since they got Tarasenko, Trocheck's game has picked up too, because he's played a bit with them. And I think he's been on, primary assist on probably 3 of Trocheck's goals.
Yeah, I don't think he's scored as many goals as you think he has, but he's played a lot better. Well, he's showing up on the score sheet where when he was going through his little doldrums there, he was just hitting crossbar after crossbar, post after post.
He's a guy they really need to get, that they needed to get going here. And I think.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't disagree with that.
That's been very helpful, and I think it's also opened up a little bit for Panarin. I think, like you said, just having him has helped some of our other guys, and I think Trocheck and Panarin have really benefited from having Tarasenko.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm expecting just a little bit more offense out of him. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hope he keeps his playoff prowess because he's been known to be, pretty. When they won the Stanley Cup, man, he had some points, man. He was the guy, especially in the playoffs.
Along with Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he had 10, 11 goals in that year,
Yeah,
playoff
I
year.
think I think uh, I think O'Reilly led their team in actual goals in that playoffs that year, Stanley Cup year.
Well, you might be
I'm
right, but
not positive, but I think he did. But
I think Tarasenko had a lot to do
well,
with
again,
that.
I expect him to be just a little bit more. Okay, I want
Right,
to see more out of him than what he's given so far. That's my opinion. But I'm going to leave it at this with him. What he's done is exactly what you said. What I said before you. He's opened up the ice for the other guys
right.
to have a little bit more free will, free way out there, and stuff like that. And that's always a good thing, Paulie, having that kind of a threat. And listen, I don't know if he's in shape yet either. There's times where he doesn't look like he's skating very fast, but like you said, he made that nice pass the other night. He's made some pretty slick moves out there, but I think he's still getting used to playing with his team, and I think the move was made at the right time,
Yeah.
way before the playoffs start. You know what I
You
mean?
also said, yeah, and you also said that there's a possibility you don't feel that he's 100% because I know he's had some shoulder surgeries and he's had some. I mean, he did. How many games has he played this year? I didn't think he played a ton. I think he missed a little time this year, didn't he?
Yeah, I did.
So you might be right. He might be, still not 100%, but I think it was a good trade. I think that's exactly what the doctor ordered for that. I think there's a little bit more. Do you think the Rangers? My guess. The last question is: Do you think the Rangers got something left in them here? They're going to make another move.
I do. I've said this to you before, and I know a lot of people might disagree with me, but I think Chris Drury's done probably a better job at general managing than he did as playing hockey. He's made he's made all the right moves since he's been a GM. Whether they worked out or not is not the point. The point is that's what was wanted. That's what was needed. Did it work out because the player didn't do it or not do it? It isn't up to the GM once that happens. But he's filled the right spots each year. Okay? And he's done it again by getting Tarasenko, picking up Mott, picking up Mikkola. Okay? He's done that. He got Harper for basically nothing. Okay? To add it to the lineup. I got a feeling there's still some a little bit on that in that frying pan and it's heating up, Paulie. I just don't know how it's going to be done, but I still think it revolves around Zach Jones and Kravtsov.
Yeah,
revolve around that.
I read today that the Rangers were considering putting him on waivers. I don't think Kravtsov clears waivers, Scotts.
Well, don't be surprised if he does.
I would be very surprised.
I think behind the scenes I'm just speculating here, but they probably tried to move him already.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
They haven't got anything in return that they feel is good, or there's no interest in him at all. Because I also know that there's rumors that he, regardless, might just go back to the KHL anyways next year. And if he does that, I'll chip in for his plane ticket.
Yeah.
I'm tired of that shit.
Yeah. Well,
that's not afforded to the North American player.
It's another loss of a high draft pick.
Well, you take a chance with all these Euros, Paulie. They have leagues over there that pay good money. After the NHL, the AHL pays decent money. They don't have any other leagues to go to if you're a North American kid. Okay? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. What do you think about Patrick Kane's comments? Did you read about it, Kyle, when he was open about saying he was very disappointed?
No, you know what? He had all the time in the world to say something before then. It's time to shit or get off the pot. He waited too long. I don't feel sorry for Patrick Kane now. I hope he comes to
I
the
don't
Rangers
either.
as a cheap buy-in for the run. It'd be great to get him for a cheap buy-in just for the run. But
Right.
you can't cry the blues after you've been hemming and hawing the whole damn season. I mean, that's what he did, didn't he?
Well,
Now he's all upset.
there's not a lot you can do as a player, though.
Well, I'm pretty sure he had the power to move when he wanted to. Remember, he had a no trade contract. Period.
Right.
So he was probably hemming and hawing and holding out until he thought the right move. And now that he never really came out and said, "I want to play for the Rangers," but now he's saying he would have went to the Rangers. I hope he does still, but.
Yeah. But I mean, how much control does he have if the asking price is just too much? I mean, I don't think anybody would have ruled him out, and I think there was definitely conversations. But like you had said, they're not giving up Lafreniere and whoever else for a Patrick Kane who's at the end of his career. Can he contribute to a Stanley Cup team? Sure. But to mortgage the house for him, he's not that player anymore, man.
No, I agree.
So I think Chicago's just asking too much for a player that is at the end of his career.
They could be, but I could also see this too. I think it's more Patrick Kane. I think he had a chance. He had an opportunity to make a statement and say, "I want to definitely be moved," and he never did it until after the Tarasenko move was made.
Right.
He never came out.
You
know what I'm saying? Man. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't have it both ways. What are the Rangers supposed to do? Wait till the very end and find out you're not getting anybody? No. I'm still, hey, I'd welcome Patrick Kane to the team. I'm sure Chris Drury would welcome to the team. But it's got to be under the right situation now. Cost. Is it going to be cost effective prospects wise, draft choice wise, players wise? Is it going to be able to fit under the cap? I don't know.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I don't know about cap.
We never got around to this one before we finish up tonight, Paulie.
How to be retention.
Is Yarrow Halak actually out playing Igor Shesterkin right now?
Yeah. He is.
I think so.
But I have to say that, I mean, that is true. But I have to say the one great thing about what the Rangers have is they have probably the best goalie coach in the world in Benoit Allaire. And I think that, as bad as Halak was to start, working with Allaire and, getting more confidence, and look how it is now. I think Shesterkin bounces back quickly.
I agree with you, but at this moment right now, Yarrow Halak is playing the better net than Shesterkin right now.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. But last night I watched, I don't really feel like Shesterkin gave up a bad goal last night. I just think that, I mean, other than the puck that dropped beside him that he lost, do you feel like, I mean, I don't feel like he gets.
See, this is the thing with Halak at the beginning of the year when he was getting scored on. I saw people were raking him over the coals, and I saw the things differently. Like, he was getting into games where his team wasn't scoring any damn goals for him. Okay,
right.
Shesterkin's really great. It's because sometimes the team doesn't score goals for him, and he shuts them down. But when you give up 4 goals on only 17 shots, that's un-Shesterkin-like, regardless of the goals were scored. That's my point.
Right, I agree with that.
I get what you're saying. I mean, I mean, there's really no, like, you can't blame him on 3 out of the 4. You probably can't even blame him on 4 out of the 5, all 4 of them. Right. But he's made us expect that door's going to be shut.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep it at 2 goals and under every game.
Agreed.
Right now Halak is doing just a little better job. A little bit. And it's nice to see that your backup goaltender can do that. kind of like Cam Talbot did when he was here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
A little bit, you know?
Yep. Agreed.
Whoa, look at that, Paulie. The Habs. Les Habitants. 5-2 with an empty net in Jersey.
Nice. That's important.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. I think Halak, it's
I agree.
Good to know that you can go to them.
A lot of people were asking me that question. And, do you notice that, Shesterkin's been, a little bit shaky since the All-Star comeback? And I said, yeah, there's been some, and then last night when I was watching, I think it was Giannone who said, don't look now, but was it 3 of the last 4 games, he's let up 4 goals or more. 4 goals, at least 4 goals. So it's something to keep your eye on. I think, again, like I said, Shesterkin has really started to prove to many of us that he has that ability to, bounce back and not fall too deep into a hole. And I think with the goalie coach that the New York Rangers have, there's a lot there's a lot there. So look at Halak. And again, right now the Rangers could ride Halak a little bit. He's been so hot, man.
I think he's done a great job. I was not negative towards Halak at the beginning, even though he was struggling, going 1-8 or whatever he was. He could have won at least 3 or 4 of those games had his team scored goals for him. But he's playing good, and they probably have the best tandem in the league. As good as any in the league right now. And Shesterkin's obviously going to be the number 1 guy. Let's call it what it is. Okay, he's going to be the number 1 guy.
Oh yeah.
But right now, I got to tip my hat a little bit to Halak. He's, while Shesterkin's had a little bit down, Halak's done the job.
Right. I don't disagree. I agree wholeheartedly.
Max Domi to the Rangers. Is he another one looking for a contract, Anthony? I know one thing. If Max Domi shows up, you'll see his bald-headed dad showing up there every game. That's for sure. Ty.
I love Ty Domi, man.
He's a great guy. I've met him. Obviously his first year pro, he was in our training camp in Toronto. I never got to play against him though. I think until I got sent down. I got to play against him when I was in Adirondack. He was in Newmarket, but I followed him through his career, and I told him I've met him a few times in New York over the last few years. I said to you, Ty, pound for pound, as tough as there ever was.
Yeah, no fucking doubt.
And people realize, they know he's a small guy height-wise, but Ty was not 170 or 180 pounds. He was a $190, $195 built into that little frame back in the day. Yeah. He had a head as hard as a bowling ball. You couldn't hurt him. You couldn't hurt him.
Yeah.
But he's a good guy. And the other thing that I'll give, I said to you remember that first training camp? He goes, oh yeah, because he was puking all over the ice when we were doing skating drills at the end. He couldn't handle the conditioning.
Yeah.
And he was not a very good skater at the beginning. And if you noticed as his career went along, he actually turned into a pretty good skater. He got better as a player.
Yeah.
But he never forgot all that little mischief, that's for sure. That elbow that he gave Niedermeyer. Remember that elbow he gave Niedermeyer?
What about when he fucking flat out punched Samuelson right in front of the goal?
Well, some would say Samuelson deserved it, but that was a bad move by Ty.
Yeah. But like you said, pound for pound, man.
He's right up there pound for pound with Stan Jonathan. I'd even put Gary Howard in there, like with this pound for pound tough guys.
We used to fight some heavyweight guys, man. Outreached them, outweighed them, everything, man, and he just fucking gave it all.
There's one. He had guys that he had trouble with. He had trouble with Chris Simon. You go look back at his fights. Chris Simon won the majority of them, and I believe that. like Simon in his prime was one tough dude. You know what I mean?
I used to remember
Darren Langdon and Ty Domi fights. Go look at those ones, and I'm telling you, if I scored honestly, and I know both people very well, I'm going to give the edge to Darren Langdon in those fights.
Really?
Well, you go look at them, and you tell me who's still willing to fight at the end and who's not.
Nah.
Who looks like they want to stop?
Yeah, but when Langdon came up, I mean, Ty Domi was. I remember those years, man. Ty Domi fought guys like Probert and Fakota and
Darren Langdon.
Gardner.
So did Langdon.
He fought all those heavyweights, man.
Wally, look at the Darren Langdon fight in Toronto when Langdon was a Ranger.
I think Chris Simon used to give Darren Langdon a hard time, huh?
I know Chris Simon gave Ty Domi a hard time.
Chris Simon was no joke, too. Yeah. I think Stu Grimson was a fucking great fighter.
Stu wasn't that great a fighter early in his career. He got better as he went along. When he reached his prime, he was unbeatable. Nobody could beat him.
Yeah.
I remember he tried to fight Proby a lot back in his early years, and he would never do well against Proby.
Yeah.
Which a lot of guys didn't.
Joey Kosher. He was another lighter guy who was.
Joey was 205 pounds. He wasn't like everybody makes like he's like 190. Joey was a heavyweight.
Yeah.
Joey was tough.
But he wasn't. He didn't really have the reach though that like guys like Simon and fucking Probert had, and
Joey had a secret weapon. And I think I told you this on one of our past shows, like in the past. He had an infection in junior on his right hand from obviously fighting, hitting helmets, and the scar tissue went from here to overlap his knuckles.
Really?
I had a chance to like go to training camp with him in Detroit and play 2 games before my career ended. He showed it to me, and I tapped it like with my finger. It was like hitting fucking metal. It didn't feel like skin at all.
Wow.
It was like hard as a rock, hard as metal, Paulie. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So when he cocked you with that, boy.
Yeah, and he probably felt less pain in it too.
There's just too many guys. Like
I got boxer's knuckle in my right hand, my right pinky, and my right index finger, man. I hit something hard like a helmet, my fucking hand just blows up.
I get asked all the time who I think the toughest was in my day, who I think the toughest all time was, and I don't really want to say one guy like anymore because there's just too many guys that were really good at it.
Yeah.
Proby's right up there. Let's call it what it is. Like he was like that. Like I remember doing a story in some guy's book once, and they asked me what he was like. I said, you know what the Navy's like, right? He goes, yeah. He said, you have submarines, you have torpedo boats, you have this, destroyers, you have this. Well, it probably was a battleship. And I said, what does a battleship do? It takes on all comers in the water and in the air. And that was the kind of fighter he was. He didn't matter. Probably got beat. They all get beat. Nobody wins them all, Paulie.
Yeah, I know. I don't disagree.
I mean, I had like a semi-draw the first time with it. The second time I didn't do well, But I'm also a guy that beat some guys that I shouldn't have beat. You know what I mean? In fights. So it is what it is. Oh, there's another pound for pounder. I forgot about George McPhee. Little George McPhee. Tough as nails. Played for the Rangers. You don't remember him?
Yeah. What about one of my favorites?
PJ Stock?
How about, well, no. Nicky Fatiu.
Nicholas Avampius Fatiu.
Hey, Nicky wasn't a super heavyweight.
Oh, Paulie, you're so wrong.
What am I?
Paulie,
what are you weighing at?
220.
Nicky weighed in at 220. All right.
When I played with him in New York, it was
you fucking weighed in at 220, right?
I was 218 with the Rangers. Nicky was 220, 221.
Fuck. I didn't realize he was that big, Potts.
Fuck yeah.
I didn't
He
know
wasn't
that.
as tall as me. Nicky was like 6'1", 6'1 and a half-ish. But he was 220, 221. I said to him, is he like 220? He goes, that's a lie. He goes, that's probably more like 225 at the time.
Really? I didn't know he was that big. How big was Bubba?
Bubba was 6'3", about 220. We had a big team, Paul. That fucking team was huge, 80-81.
I used to love to watch Bubba.
You had Bubba, Nicky, Boxcar, myself, Laidlaw, Greshner, Duguay. I mean, we were fucking monsters for the time. And I'll still say it. We were the toughest New York Ranger team that ever fucking laced them up for a season. I don't care. You take whatever era, whatever team, the Stanley Cup team, whatever you want. Put them against us. Yeah, Joey will win a lot of fights. Buka Boom will win a lot of fights. But they ain't going to win them all against us. We had too many of them.
Boom, boom. I love Buka Boom, man. Where is he now?
I think he's scouting for the Rangers.
Yeah, because wasn't he coaching?
I think he was in Hartford for a while. But I think he's a scout now.
Fucking love Jeff Buka Boom, man.
See, again, can he play in today's game?
I think he can.
Oh.
I think he can.
Oh. Not much for passing and scoring, and not much for stick handling, Paulie. I'm not knocking him, but like I admit it, I'd have all. I probably couldn't play in today's game the way I played hockey. And I don't think Jeff Buka Boom will be a top candidate to play in the game either, the way the game's played today.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that part of it, but
it's just. What was he known for, Paul? He was known for clearing guys out in front of the net. So you might as well put a fucking bed in the fucking penalty box because he's going to be sleeping there for 60 fucking minutes.
And winning puck battles. I mean,
Okay, but how did you win those puck battles? You slash, you hack, you cross check, you punch with your right hand, you punch with your left hand in the back of the guy. You did all that shit back then. I'm not knocking. Listen, it's not a knock on him. It's just we got to be realistic the way the game's played today. Yeah. Chris Pronger would have a tough time playing today. It's changed that much since he's retired.
Right.
And I saw a thing again the other night. Another fight in Philadelphia. Who were they playing on the West Coast? A guy gets absolutely clean with a check, and right away, somebody's got to attack him in a fight. What the fuck's Gary Bettman and Bill Daly and these owners got to get their heads out of their ass and start doing something about that? I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
They're the ones that said they didn't want fighting in hockey to start with in the 90s, remember? Yet they allow this crap to go on?
Well, I haven't heard much about the discussion of having to defend yourself after every fight. So after every hit, though. So we'll see.
It's embarrassing as far as us old timers are seeing, because I've talked to the guys. I've talked to the guys that played. They don't like it either. Every time. So what's a clean hit? What's a good clean hitting player worth to your team anymore? Nothing. Anyhow,
game sucks now.
It was a good game. The Calgary game in Madison Square Garden was a good game. Big hits, a lot of tough stuff going on. You can still do that, but I don't like the way they attack Trouba. You could have waited and did it the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The immediate pouncing on is what I don't like.
Yeah, gotcha. I don't disagree. But it leaves us, did we cover everything?
My boy, he brought up another guy I forgot about that was as tough as nails. Big Ben Wilson. He's my homeboy. We grew up in the same town, Toronto, Scarborough, same suburb. Played against each other our whole career. Actually played with each other one year in a summer league that Ben got banned from because we had bench clearing brawls in a men's league when Ben was actually a pro and I was just becoming a pro. The cops were looking for him the next week at the rink.
That's hilarious.
Oh yeah, we had bench clearing brawls in that league. It was called the Coho Internationals, run by Carl Brewer, famous Toronto Maple Leaf defenseman. And we had guys like Ben Wilson on the team, Glenn Sharpley. I don't know if you remember him, played for Minnesota and Chicago. We had some like pros playing on our team in the summertime.
Yeah.
I was like 19 or so, 18 years old playing on it. Whenever we start losing, we just start brawling. And this is in a men's league. We're like, it's not even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The officials, they ain't breaking it up. They're not sticking it up for anybody breaking up a fight for their $20 a game.
Right. Well, that's it. That's all we got. I think the Rangers need to go on another stretch here after winning 7 in a row and then dropping 2 in a row. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, like I said, the Detroit game is going to be. I think they better be ready to play that game. Detroit's on the cusp of getting right in that wild card spot, Paulie.
Yeah, well, no, I think they're way down there, Cots.
No, they're not. Go back and look. They're not way down. They're like 2-3 wins away from getting in there.
Yeah, you're right. They're only, yeah.
It's the 8th spot you're looking at, not the 7th.
62 points. The Islanders have 65, and Florida has 64. So yeah, you're right. Crazy, huh?
It's a traffic jam there for the 7th and 8th and 9th, 10th.
They're tied with Washington and just a point behind Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's real tight down there. Buffalo with 60.
Yeah.
So it's real tight for the bottom there, for the bottom rankings.
And the guys just above it, that includes the Rangers, that includes Tampa, that includes Toronto. You better not lose 3 or 4 in a row and have any of those two or three teams below you win 3 or 4 in a row. They're right there too.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's what makes it so much fun. All right. Well, I'm done.
All right. So when's your show? I want everybody to keep an eye on Paulie's show. What's it called again? Come on.
Capo, Rise to Power.
Capo, what? The Rise in Power?
Rise of Power, yeah.
Rise of Power. Paulie playing the bad guy. He's like an Italian Razor Ramon.
I was shooting this weekend. I actually posted one of the pictures in the scene. So
was that a Glock you're holding?
Boom. Yep. A lot of fun this weekend. A lot of fun. I love the character, and they're really building it. So it's fun. And
I'm gonna have to find a replacement for Paulie in a couple of years. He'll be in Hollywood.
I gotta tell you, man.
Hanging out with the liberal food cakes in Hollywood. That's where he'll be.
I'm not going to Hollywood. I gotta tell you, Sal Murata is the director, and he's fucking fantastic, man. He's really doing a wonderful job with this. So I think it's going places. I'll be honest with you. It's got some elements of everything. If you're into mob movies, you're gonna love this. It takes place in New York. The story takes place in Long Island, New York. There's some hockey. There's some hockey in it, actually. But full gangster, full mobster type stuff. with a couple of different twists. Um, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. And I tell you, like I said, Sal Murata, he's done a lot of like really good stuff in the business, and it's really exciting to work with him. He's fantastic. The camera work is fantastic. The we talk about the character. You try to, when you do stuff like this, you want to become the character somehow, and you have your own interpretation of the character. Um, when you read the script, when you're reading your lines, you really want to become that character. And Sal's really good. Sal's really good with helping you understand, where the script and where the direction is going. So it's cool. It should be out in late May. There are some, there's a lot of production in this, man. Hours and hours and hours of a lot of hard work by a lot of really good people. So a lot of fun. We'll see what happens. It's called Copper Rise to Power. I actually put one of the pictures up on my Paulie D page, and then I'll be dumping the rest over in my personal page when I get there.
Awesome. Movie star.
Hopefully.
Star. Hollywood star.
I'm
one last thing for me. I will be posting a Chris Katsopoulos new website pretty soon. My son, my genius spawn son, has just about got it finished. It looks really damn good, and I'm going to be posting it on Facebook, and you got to check it out. There's going to be photos. There's going to be all kinds of crap on it. We're going to have the Instigators label on that show somewhere. Hopefully we'll get, on Paulie's end, something done about the memorabilia, so I could add that to the website too. And there will be photos, new sets of photos that I've dug up to put on this site that are ready to be purchased and signed by me. And the website will speak for itself. I'll be available for any golf outings, any speaking engagements, any parties, anything you want, as long as the price is right. That's that. So it'll be up pretty soon.
Well, until next time. Oh, who's Chris Katsopoulos? Oh no, there he is over there.
Look at the size of that head.
It's like real life.
Who's got a bigger head, me or Ty Domi?
I think he's been hitting his head more. But we appreciate you listening. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm working on getting it moved over to the actual label I have for it, which right now it's under Paulie D. I want to move it all over to the Instigators, but this time hasn't been real helpful. Buck is working on getting us a new merchant for the merchandise, and so we'll have that up and running. And I actually need to get my money back for the bobbleheads that I bought that I never got for Christmas as we approach fucking March.
Bastages? What a bunch of bastages.
Bastages. So that's it, man.
One last thing. I've got a couple of people lined up. I don't know when they're coming on, but there will be some special guests coming on the next few shows. Just letting you know.
We'll let you guys know. Just
Rock
keep
and
it.
roll.
Got some tunes. Oh, fuck this chili. Did you hear me?
What?
I said fuck this chili.
Never do slam you.
All right. Anyway. We'll see you.
Ciao, man.